pay me more. Give me a gig. That's like you pay me maybe 250,000, uh, 250,000 pounds to play for 30 minutes in Germany. Yeah, I'll get on the plane.
You would. You'd be on the
I
plane.
don't need no um hypnotist or whatever
No.
to do anything. The money is enough. It's enough hypnosis for me, the money.
That could be so, but a program I watched, and I do recommend this. I watched a few nights ago.
Yeah,
Um, it was back in 2009, and I'll cut a long story short. It's about a family, two brothers, four brothers. They used to go caving when they were little with their family in Utah, in America.
right.
Anyway, these two guys, one was 40, 43, I think, and one was 37, 38. Well, they decided over the beginning of the Thanksgiving weekend in 2009, they would explore this cave that they'd never explored, but that had been closed because the authorities felt it was a bit dangerous. But others said, look, you can't mollycoddle us. We want, these cavers, they wanted to go down there.
Yeah,
A lot of people. So eventually the local authority agreed to open it, but you had to apply for a license. So at any one time, the authorities would know who was there.
yeah.
Anyway, these two, they went down there. One convinced the other to do it. And in fact, their brothers also went, but they weren't really mentioned in this film about this event called The Last Descent. It's on YouTube, and I recommend anybody to watch it. It's very sad, but it's quite sobering to watch it, particularly if you have claustrophobia.
Right.
Now, I'm quite claustrophobic, and I don't like the idea of caves. I did go down a few times, I think, but when I was in France one time, we went to the Champagne region, and we were taken down in a group quite deep into the caves where they store millions of bottles of champagne. And I was always under the impression that champagne didn't last well, but actually some types of it do. Anyway, I didn't really like it down there. And the lady leading us said, you can't wander away here with all these tunnels because you'd never find your way back. So
Right.
you got me here. So it's that kind of thing. But anyway, these guys went down there, and and it was the film describes this perfectly. But they had their headlight on. Um, Long story short, they thought it was mapped, and they thought they were going in the right direction in what was called the birth canal. So that almost says it was very narrow.
Yeah.
So they split up to try and find that. Well, one of them then found it. He went in, and it was just, I think it was about 18 inches in diameter, a big sort of a hole. Now, he was quite a big chap. Anyway, he pulled himself in there, but sadly, he took a wrong turn. There was a kind of a fork, and he went on a bit, and he suddenly realised he was stuck. Now
Oh,
he's got his headlight. He thought he wanted to turn round, and he thought if he kept going,
yeah.
on according to the map, he would find a place where he could stand up and turn around and go back.
Yeah.
But in fact, he'd taken the wrong place, so he got jammed
Oh,
70 degrees facing down.
no.
So he realised this, and he then called for his brother. The two of them have been together, apart from the other brothers.
Yeah.
He kept calling, and eventually the other chap, Josh, the person's name who got stuck was John. Josh heard him and sort of made his way and got as close as he could. And he said, "Look, I'm stuck." So he said, "Okay, I'll try and pull you out." Anyway, he couldn't do it. So he said, "I've got to go back and get some help from up top."
Yeah.
And John said, "No, you can't leave me like this." And he said, "No, I'll make sure someone comes back." Anyway, they alerted the authorities. I think it took them an hour or so to arrive. Great numbers of people.
Yeah.
And initially, a woman went down there and was talking to him. She said, "Don't worry, we'll get you out." Because, of course, he was a doctor, actually. He was training to be a child doctor. I can't think of the word he used.
Yeah.
But so he knew what was happening. And, of course, if you're nearly upside down for more than an hour or so, the heart starts to get stressed because it's pumping the blood the wrong way,
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything rushes to your head.
Oh,
Anyway, she said, look, okay, I can't pull you out, so I'm going to go up and they'll get someone. Only one person could be anywhere near him in this tunnel. You see,
Yeah.
and this poor chap couldn't move or anything.
Oh,
Anyway, it actually was there altogether to bring it to a conclusion for 28 hours, by which time many people would actually have died. And in fact, they tried. They initially pulled him, which they attached rope to his feet, and they
yeah.
had to nail it into the rocks, and they were drilling out to try and make the hole wider,
Yeah.
and they kept talking to him, and occasionally he got very panicky, and he was hallucinating as well. I mean, it was really
Oh,
sad. It's not it's a very interesting and sobering program to watch, as I say.
oh,
Anyway, they couldn't do it. They realised we're not going to get him out, and by which time he was eventually unconscious. And then they sent a very brave medic down there, because to go down there, you've got to be brave.
yeah.
It's quite a long way underground.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, he's got no pulse, he's died. So the upshot was the authorities sealed the cave forevermore. I mean, they
Wow.
can't get his body out. He would be left there forever. But they sealed it so no one could go down, and the family put a big plaque on the outside. I mean, it's a very sad story, but
It
as
is.
I say, we've been talking about claustrophobia, and I do commend anyone to watch that. It's a fascinating and sad, but very brilliantly made film called The Last Descent on YouTube. So I do commend that, but it just reminded me that I've always been fairly claustrophobic. I mean, as a youngster, I think I was stuck in a lift once,
Yeah.
which obviously may have triggered it. But I'm okay nowadays. I mean, when we were in New York a few months ago, we were always in lifts, in the hotel, in the big buildings, the Empire State Building and the others that we went up and down in. And I mean, the lifts, the elevators over there go like rockets. I mean, they're so quick. But having said that, I still don't like being in a confined place.
Yeah.
And I would never ever go into a cave and start crawling along in little holes. I mean, that would be, my idea of a nightmare. £250,000 or not, you may decide if you would do it, but I certainly wouldn't. But yeah, so yeah, that's claustrophobia, and again, the hypnosis is something that is often used, as with fear of flying, to help
Yeah.
people through this. And I suppose we just have to recognise that the hypnosis teaches us, or hopefully teaches us, to breathe properly, to breathe in a relaxed way, so that if you do get caught in a lift or in a situation of potential huge anxiety,
Yeah.
you instantly revert to this calmness, and don't worry, everything's going to be fine. And there are ways of bringing down that level of anxiety in a very structured way.
Yeah.
So I think there is a place for hypnosis. um, and with phobias, it can help them, but at the end of the day, the only real way, in my opinion, to deal with a phobia, if you have to,
Yeah.
is to face it. You have to
Yeah.
face up to it, and
Yeah.
you know keep doing that thing, whether it's flying. I mean, we can't always afford to go and keep flying a plane, but that's the idea. If you can fly 2 or 3 times a year, then that helps you get through that, I think.
I think I'm gonna start doing that now. Yeah, the plane I'm in, not caves. I don't do caves. I
No,
don't do
avoid
caves.
the caves.
Yeah,
Avoid the
yeah.
caves.
I'll avoid the caves. Yeah, I was thinking of going on the Euro Euro tunnel, Euro train.
Yeah. You're a
To
star. Yeah.
Yeah, Eurostar, yeah, to Germany next month. But I think I might fly. Might
Yeah,
just
good.
book a flight instead. Right. So on that note, Trevor, we've had a really great show. So on that note, would like to say goodbye, and We'll see you next week. So I've been Emmy Hikins, and
And I've been Trevor Gear.
yeah, and you've been watching the Alien Spaceship. See you again next week for another interesting season. Right. So Trevor, let me just